Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we will be going over the Warden Healer for update 30 Blackwood. With this patch we have made some changes to help improve how this build works. If you liked how the old build was set up and want to keep what's not broken, you still will be fine to do so. Now, for this time around we have redesigned how this particular healer works. As a healer, it is important to keep the group alive, which hasn't changed, but what we have done here was make our job easier. We have added a different set that will help us to do so. I also believe that when you play a healer, it's more than just healing and buffing the group. That is, it is also to the best of our ability to debuff the enemy as well. So to help with that, we have changed skills around since we have a very strong ability within the Warden class to do that. Now, if you would like to learn more about this Warden Healer build that will help make healing easier, debuff enemies, all while still being very mobile, I will be going over the stats on the build, what skills I like to use, what kind of passives are used on the build, what type of gear makes this build tick, and last, what is my current CP setup. All of this is coming up next. So let's get into the build. First, we're going to buff ourselves up a little bit before we go over our skills in our character sheet. Max Magicka is sitting at 34,900, basically 35k. Max health is sitting at 24,500 with a max stam at 14,300. Our recoveries on the build can go up a lot further than this by popping our potion here and going onto our back bar and using enchanted growth as well. Our recovery on the build goes up to max Magicka recovery at 2,500, health recovery at 615, stam recovery at 870. Spell damage can go up higher as well by applying our heal here and enchantment there. And our Betty, let's get that on. So our spell damage can go up to 3,400 with a spell critical of 34.2%. Resistance on the build can go up as high as well with our Frost Cloak and Combat Prayer here as well, with our spell resistance sitting at 21,900, physical at 18,300 on our Restoration Staff skill line. If we buff ourselves up real quick again, and on our back bar, 22,400 and 18,800. For attributes on the build, we have 64 points into Magicka, because Magicka is the most thing we are going to be using since we are a healer. This is our major attribute that we want to use. If you feel like you have enough Magicka and want to increase your health to have a little bit more health, because at base value unbuffed it sits at 22,400. If you think that's a little low, you can put some attributes points into health. Just be aware things won't add up the same as what my build is if you don't put 64 points into it. Just be aware of that. For the active boon that we have on the build, we have the Ritual, which increases our healing done by 12%. I've tested it with several different Mundus stones in the game, or the boons I should say as well, and found out that the Ritual actually worked the best for us. Now let's go over into the skills, starting on our front bar. Now for skills, I have Budding Seeds as my first one, but it doesn't mean that it has to be the X button. If you want to, you can put it as B, you can put it right bumper, you can put it Y, you can put it left bumper, kind of put it anywhere as you want to on this bar. Just be aware there are certain skills on this bar that they're there for a reason that we'll find out later in the passives, or have to be there because they're part of the weapon that we are using. So let's start into this. So the ability we have is down into the green balance skill line. It is the second ability to unlock, starts off as Healing Seed. We then morph it to Budding Seeds. This has an 8-meter radius that lasts for 6 seconds that heal allies in the area, that we can cast this for a second time for an instant heal of 14,700 or 14,074 health. But if you leave it tick in the area over the 6 seconds, you will heal allies in the area and yourself for 1,700 health every 1 second. Yes, activating again causes it to bloom instantly. And the nice part about this, it is a synergy, so allies can activate the harvest synergy, healing themselves for 14,200 health over the 5-second duration of that thing. So what I mean by instant boom, basically we cast it and then cast it again to pretty much get an instant burst heal. So it's a nice little burst heal or a nice little heal over time ability that we have here. Now, next ability we have is down into the Restoration Staff skill line. It is the first ability to unlock, starts off as Grand Healing. We then morph it to Illustrious Healing. This is also an 8 meter that lasts for 12 seconds. It looks a little bit funky with the 9, but reading into the things down here, it is a 12-second duration that heals allies and ourselves in the target area for 2,500, and then an additional 2,500 every 1 second for the 12-second duration as well. Next ability we have is still in the Restoration skill line. Second ability to unlock starts off as Regeneration. Morph it to Radiating Regeneration. This you can cast up to 28 meters. That lasts for 10 seconds. That heals you or up to 3 nearby allies for 26,100 health over 10 seconds. So roughly about 2,600 health every second is what we get for the 10-second duration. Now what this means by it is you heal up to 3 targets. So you'll either heal yourself or 2 other members, or you'll heal 3 other members with this ability that reaches out to 28 meters. So it's a really nice thing to heal out with. And the other 2 first abilities we have actually can cast out to 28 meters as well. So just for your information there as well. Next ability we have is up into the Animal Companion skill line. It is the third ability to unlock, starts off as Swarm. We then morph it to Fetcher Infection, which is on the target for the enemy that lasts for 10 seconds, that deals about 11,000 magic damage over those 10 seconds. So about basically about 1,100 magic damage every second basically. Now we can cast this ability for a second time that deals a 50% increased damage, so you know, a little bit more damage, but we're not actually looking for that. What we're mostly looking for on this is the fact of this actually affects the enemy, inflicts them with minor vulnerabilities so for the duration. So for the 10 seconds we increase the damage enemies take by 5%. So this will help out your DPS in the group because the damage they do is going to get amplified by 5% because the enemy's now taking 5% more damage from this ability. So very nice thing to cast on boss or on your tougher ads, so make sure to keep this up as much as possible. Next ability we have is down into the Restoration Staff skill line. It is the third ability to unlock, starts off as Blessing of the Protection. We then morph it to Combat Prayer. This is a 28 by 8 meter radius or area. So what that means is it's 8 meters wide by 20 meters deep is roughly the range. So kind of like a rectangle shape is roughly the area that we can hit for to have this up for 8 seconds. This will heal us and allies in front of us for 7,700 health. So it's a nice little thing to get a nice little health type thing going. But the main reason we actually want to cast this is because we also grant allies Minor Berserk and Minor Resolve. So we increase our allies' damage down by 5% and physical and spell resistance by 2,900 for 8 seconds. So the resistance there is kind of nice just to kind of buff everybody up a little bit. The big kicker is the Minor Berserk there, so we're increasing our allies' damage down by 5%. And now if they hit an enemy who is infected by our Fetcher Infection, they now do an additional 5% more because the enemy's taking 5% more from that. So roughly now we're increasing our allies' damage done by 10% alone from just casting these 2 abilities. That's why it's important to keep your Fetcher Fly up and also keep our Combat Prayer up as well. Now for the ultimate on this bar, it is a flex. There is other options that we can do on this bar if we so desire, but the one that I prefer the most is in the Green Balance skill line, just for passives later. We have Secluded Grove, which I morphed it to Enchanted Forest. That is in 8 meters, so this can actually stack up with our Illustrious Healing and our Budding Seeds here as well if we really want to, just to get a bunch of healing in a concentrated area. However, for this The initial heal will heal the most injured friendly ally in the target area for 11,600 health, so a nice little burst heal that we can if someone really needs it in case of an emergency, kind of like an snap heal type thing. We've got a couple of those. We got this one, and also budding seeds is a kind of nice one there. But then the forest continues to grow and heals us and allies in the area for 4,100 health every 1 second for the 6-second duration. Nice part about it, if we use this on a friendly who is under 50% health, we will get 20 ultimate back, but it has to be on the first initial heal. It can't be they're at, you know, let's say 60% health, you pop it, now they're at 70, all of a sudden they drop down to 40. It don't work after that. It's, you don't get the 20 ultimate if they drop to 40 after the fact of you using it and they got healed by it the first tick of it. First heal has to be on a friendly under 50% to get the 20 ultimate, just to that way everybody kind of knows. A really good one that we can, I know I don't have it unlocked here, but you can do the restoration staff. We have this ultimate from the restoration staff skill line. This is actually a really good one if you prefer to use one that has a little bit higher of a cost. Either more works on this one as well. Now over into our back bar. First ability we have is all the way down into the Undaunted skill line. It is the 6th ability to unlock. Starts off as Necrit Orb. We then morph it to Energy Orb. This has an 8-meter radius, kind of like our Budding Seeds, Illustrious Healing, and even our Enchanted Forest, so this kind of has a nice thing. It's a globe that slowly floats forward, healing for 1,900 health every 1 second to us and allies. So it's a nice little thing to throw out for heals, but the main reason we actually want to use this is because allies near the globe can use a synergy, so they're getting a lot of benefits from this. For healing combustion on top of it, instead of just the healing for the 8,000, the nice part is allies restore 3,900, almost about 4,000 magicka or stam, based on whichever of those maximum is higher. So if they are magicka based, they'll get magicka back. If they're stam based, a lot of stam, they'll get stam back for that. So nice to always throw this out for your tanks, also your DPS as well. Make sure to pick up synergies. It's important for everybody. It's not just for tanks out there. Everybody should be picking up synergies. Now over to the next ability we have is up into our Destruction Staff skill line. With our second ability to unlock Wall of Elements, we then morph it to Elemental Blockade, which will slam a barrier in front of us that is 18 by 12 meters, so it's 12 meters wide by 18 meters long, rectangle shape a bit, that will last for 11 seconds. That deals not so much magic damage, about 800 magic damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second. Now, we are using a lightning staff on this, and that's why it's going to be called Blockade of Storms. So it actually will deal 950 shock damage to enemies in the target area and sets concussed enemies off balance for 7 seconds. So if you can get an enemy concussed, they will become off balance. Or basically how you can get people concussed is by someone dealing lightning damage or splash lightning damage to get them off balance. Or get them concussed, which, if they're in here, will then get them off balance. So it's a really nice thing to kind of have, because off balance now gives you double resources for a heavy attack. So keep that up. And on top of it, it also applies, I believe, minor vulnerability. So kind of like our Fletcher flies here, except for instead of hitting every single target, all the targets in here kind of get it. So nice to work for ad groups instead of casting Fletcher flies all the time. So just so you're aware. Now over to the next ability we have is up into the Green Balance skill line. It is the first ability to unlock. Starts off as Fungal Growth. We then morphed it to Enchanted Growth. This is a cone shape for 20 meters out. So what a cone shape means is basically think like a pizza slice or a pie, or even like an ice cream cone. Yes, I know, cone. But basically in a cone shape, going out in like a triangle out 20 meters in an angle. Everything in that triangle shape that you hit will get this applied to them, and you will heal your allies for 8,800 health Also, you give your targets minor intellect and minor endurance, which is your allies, which increases their magic and stamina recovery by 15% for 20 seconds. This is why my magic recovery is quite high when I pop enchanted growth, along with our potion as well, to have 2,500 magic recovery. So this is a really nice thing to give to your DPS, also with your tank, because it's nice to give resources back to your tank, and also increase the recovery for your DPS, so that way they don't have to heavy attack so much, so that way they can keep up their light attack rotations if their build is based off of light attacks. Now, next ability we have is our flex spot. There are a couple of options depending on what you want to do here, but for the most part I like to use the Winter's Embrace skill line one. With the first ability, started off as Frost Cloak, we then morphed it to Expansive Frost Cloak. This is a 28-meter area around us. For 20 seconds, we give our allies and us major resolve, increasing our physical and spell resistance by 5,900 for 20 seconds. So it just makes us a little bit more tankier. I mean, we can negate some things, you know, negate some stuff from not like as much as a tank, but negate some things in the game and help our allies kind of survive a little bit easier. Now, other options that we have here is, if we really want to, we can run down into the support skill line. Second ability to unlock, called Purge, we then morphed it to Cleanse for 18 meters around us, to cleanse ourselves and group members from with 3 negative effects from them immediately, because it's always nice to have a cleanse. In certain trials you'll want to cleanse, so it's always nice to have it. On top of it, for every negative effect that we remove from the target, we heal them for 6% of their max health. So if we get 3, we are healing them for a decent amount of health as well. Now, another good option here, since we have a destruction staff here, is if we really want to and the tank asks us, in the destruction staff we can run our 4th ability to unlock. Starts off as weakness to elements, we then morph it to Elemental Drain, which lasts for 20 seconds. This can afflict an enemy with major breach for 20 seconds, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 5,900. So kind of like Pierce Armor on a tank that uses a taunt. If, let's say, the tank doesn't use that, let's say they use a ranged taunt, that way we can use this ability to reduce resistance, so that way our DPS can hit harder. On top of it too, especially if you're in like a very heavy magicka based DPS group, it's also nice to have that minor magicka steal. Even if, let's say, some of your stam characters do have magicka abilities, it's always nice to apply a magicka steal to enemy for 20 seconds. As well for us, because we will also restore 168 magicka every 1 second when we're damaging them. So if you apply this to somebody and then put our elemental, or a blockade of storms I should say, down, we are damaging them, so we'll get magicka back from them if the enemy is in that area as well. So kind of nice things to look at there. Now for the ulti on this bar, we are using all the way down into the assault skill line. Starts off as Warhorn, we then morphed it to Aggressive Warhorn for 20 meters around us for 30 seconds with, a little bit high of 250. But this will give our group max magicka and max stamina by 10% for 30 seconds, which is really nice to increase their resources, so that way they can DPS longer, because now they got bigger pools. On top of it, the nice part is we give everybody Major Force, which increases their critical damage done by 20% for 10 seconds. So this is definitely like good for like execute phase under 20%, 25% to burn the boss a little bit faster, but you can always use it prior to it to help burn the boss a little bit faster. You don't have to use it at 25%. It's just, I know a lot of people like to use it at that point, so I myself use it at that point too. Or depending on how the group is, maybe we want to just ulti dump right away on the boss, and that's what people do too. I guess other ultimates that we can go over to, since if you don't like either the Restoration Staff one, or if you don't like Enchanted Growth, a very good one is in the Winter's Embrace skill line. It starts off as Sleet Storm, we then morph it to Northern Storm for 10 meters around us. That lasts for 8 seconds. That deals 3,500 frost damage every 1 second for 8 seconds around us. Now the nice thing about this ability is we will actually reduce the movement speed of the enemies that we hit by 40%, and when we cast this, we increase our max magicka by 15%, so that way we have more things to keep everybody alive by constantly keeping heals on everything, and that it's mostly just to kind of run this to help, you know, control where a group of ads are if need be and stuff like that. On top of it, we also can help our allies, you know, gain major protection, reducing their damage taken by 10%. So we also can play a little bit of a protector here as well, not as much as like a tank, but we do got some things that we can play a little bit as a protector here as well. So now that we got all those kind of out of the way, let's go over to our passives here. Now, for the passives, I will only be going over the key passives for this build. I still highly recommend to go through and read all passives since I'm not covering all of them here, and since I do got a lot of them unlocked. So we're going to start with the Animal Companion skill line. So the one we have here is called Flourish, which increases our magic and stamina recovery by 12% for any ability that in this skill line that is slotted, since we have our Blue Betty here slotted. That works. And on top of it, we have our Swarm, or our Fletcher Flies. I guess I didn't go over Blue Betty for skills. My bad. I apologize for that. So, getting ahead of myself, we're going to talk about that right here real quick in the passive. So, Blue Betty restores 4,900 magicka to us over 25 seconds. So, the longer you keep it up, the better it is for you. It's not that you restore 4,900 magicka instantly, it's 4,900 magicka over the 25 seconds. So every 5 seconds, roughly 1,000 magicka. We get Major Brutality and Sorcery, which increases our weapon spell damage, which helps out for us by increasing how strong our heals are. So it's not for nothing. On top of it, it also removes one negative effect from us, so we don't have to use a cleanse all the time, even though if you are using cleanse, it's still a nice thing to have as well. And that will apply every 5 seconds for the negative effect removed. So I do apologize for that. Now let's go back over to passive, since we were talking about Flourish, and that's kind of what I would run here. Next, in the Green Balance skill line, the one that you should be looking at is Accelerated Growth, because this one will give you major mending for 3 seconds after we heal somebody, us or a group member under 40% health from any ability within skill line, which is always a nice thing. Then there's Nature's Gift, which gives us resources back after a heal based on whatever pool is lower. So if our magic is low, we're getting magicka back. If our stam's low, then we're getting stam back. Then the last one here would be Maturation, which gives everyone we heal max health by 10% for 20 seconds. So it's a nice thing to always heal with these guys, is because the more we're healing, the more likely we're keeping up that minor toughness, so everybody's having more health for the group. So it's really, really nice for the group. Then we're gonna go over into, yes, I know I got skills in Winter's Embrace, or passives here, but we're gonna go just into Destruction Staff skill line. Down in here, where is it? I'd probably say we have Elemental Focus. That's the one I'm thinking of. Elemental Focus, which increases our chance to apply elemental status effect by 100%, so more likely to get the off balance chance with our lightning staff. Then we'd go into the Restoration Staff skill line. We have Essence Drain, which gives us also another way of getting major mending for 3 seconds after a heavy attack with a Restoration Staff. And we also heal the closest person to the target for 30% of the damage that we do. So it's kind of nice to, you know, we'll do a heavy and then we'll also end up giving, oh, not 30, it's 40%, my bad. We give them 40% of the damage that we inflict as health. So we kind of get major mending there as well. So a little bit stronger too. Next we have Restoration Expert, which increases our healing by 15% on allies under 30%. So, and that doesn't require a restoration skill, so it's really nice when we're on here, because we got several abilities on here. We got the Budding Seeds, we got the Enchanted Forest, yes, we got Combat Prayer, we got Radiating Regeneration, and we got Illustrious Springs. But it's always nice to know that we can also put other things on this bar that heals to actually apply pretty much per se, increase the healing on that to allies under 30% with it as well. Then we have a Cycle of Life, which are heavy attacks from our restoration staff. Restores 30% more magicka, so this is kind of where we really want to when we're low on resources, to really make sure we heavy attack on our restoration staff, so that way we get more resources back as we get more on it than the destruction staff. Then last, I'd say Restoration Master, which increases our healing with restoration staff spells by 5%, so like our Celestial Springs, Radiating Regeneration, and Combat Prayer. Now over into armor, we're going to start here with light armor. Light armor, just kind of roughly going through all these. Light armor gives us more magicka recovery. We also get reduced cost to magicka ability, so really nice for our healer. We get spell critical, there's spell penetration, along with other bonuses and penalties. And yes, we have penalties here, and we do have bonuses here, so we'll kind of read through what we get from those. Over into medium armor. In this one, medium armor gives us stam recovery. We can reduce cost of stam abilities. There's weapon critical, weapon damage, and other bonuses here as well. Read through them. We don't get no penalties here, only just bonuses for wearing medium armor. Now over into the heavy armor. Heavy armor gives us, more resistance. We get health recovery. There's resources we restore when we take damage, max health, along with other bonuses and penalties along here as well. Yes, heavy armor does give penalties here and bonuses, so make sure to read through to see what you do get and stuff. Then over into the Fighters Guild skill line, we have Intimidating Presence. This is just kind of for, questing purposes at one starting out, but mostly we have Banish the Wicked here that we get 3 ultimate whenever we kill an enemy, so on an off chance that we do kill somebody, we get a nice level 3 ultimate. So it's kind of nice to have that. Mage's Guild, Persuasive Will there is just for questing purposes only. In the Undaunted, we have Undaunted Command. When activating a synergy, restores 4% of max health, stam, and magicka, and that's why it's nice when we throw synergies. That's why it's important for everybody else to also pick them up, because they're also, if they have this unlocked, they're getting 4% of their resources back as well. So they're actually getting more they're getting more like our Necrit Orb. They're getting more stam if they're stam based, or if they're magicka based, they're getting more magicka because of using this passive here. So that's where it's kind of nice. So for us, we get 1,300 health, we get 573 stam, and 1,399. So basically about 1,400 magicka back when we use the synergy. So it's not just for tanks, it's for DPS and us as well as healers. Undaunted Metal, this increases our max health, stam, and magicka by 2% per type of armor wearer. So we at least have to wear 1 heavy, 1 medium, and 1 light. And since we're at least doing that, we gotta have 6% bonus. So that's why if you're wearing all light, then it would only give you 2%. If you're wearing, let's say, 6 pieces of light and then 1 piece of heavy, then you'd only get 4%. So we're at least wearing 1 of each. In the Assault here, we just pretty much have continuous attack just for major gallop at all times to increase our movement speed by 30%. Nice thing. And for the race we are running, if you couldn't tell, we are the Argonian. Now, other great classes, or I should say other great races out there that you could run, you do have High Elves, you have Bretons. Bretons are probably the more above than High Elves, but I'd say High Elves are in there. I'd probably say Dark Elves are in there as well, but in my opinion, technically, any race can play the healer, especially play this race, or this class I should say, to play the Warden class. But yeah, any race can play a healer. It's just your skills and stuff are going to look a lot different compared to mine, just because I'm running the Argonian. And the reason I like to run the Argonian is because of some of these passives, especially our Life Mender here, increasing our healing done by 6%, which is a really nice thing when you're playing a healer. So we have really strong heals. It's not a necessity. You can run, let's say, other classes like, or other races like the Breton, the High Elf, or the Dark Elf, like I said earlier. Then we have Argonian Resistance, increasing our max health by 1,000, and our disease and poison resistance by 2,300. So kind of help with our health a little bit. And Resourceful, increase our max magicka and max standby 1000, so we're kind of getting all three attributes here. And when we drink a potion, we restore 3100 health, magicka, and stam. So when we always pop a potion, it's nice always to keep up our resources as well. Now for crafts in the alchemy, the most important thing to get here is medicinal use. When using a potion, effects last 30% longer, so we're gonna talk about this a little bit. So if you have no points put into this, your potions, any effects that are on your potion only last for 39 seconds. The cooldown of potions are at 45 seconds, so you have about a 9-second window where you don't have any buffs up. So by getting medicinal use, your potion effects actually last for 47 seconds, so you have, 2 seconds above when you can pop it again. So you got a 2-second window to pop your potion to basically have 100 uptime on your potion. So get medicinal use. It's very, very important in the game. Now, next thing we have is down into the provisioning skill line, which I have Consier because this adds 20 minutes to the duration of any consumed drink I run. Since I am running a drink on the build, if I was running a food, then I would use Gourmet because that would add 3 points out of 3, would add 20 minutes to the duration of that eaten food. But we can actually increase this further with some of our slottable champion points that we'll show later in the build. Now, let's go over into the gear and slottables that we are running. So for slottable items, for the food on this build, I mostly run the Ghastly Eye Bowl, which increases my magicka recovery or max magicka by 4,500, magicka recovery by 459 for 2.5 hours. So we're just basically increasing a lot of our magicka and our magicka recovery. That's why my magicka recovery is also quite high on this. Now, I do understand if you don't want to run blue food, I'm just saying it's doable, you can run blue food, but let's say if you're trying to do some hard modes, or let's say no deaths runs in these DLC, sometimes it's nice to run the Witch Mother's Potent Brew just to give us that nice max magicka. Yes, we kind of drop a little bit there, but we get a nice 3000 max health to kind of make us a little bit more survivable for those. And magicka recovery does drop a little bit as well, but again, you kind of have choices there. You can run that, you can run Ghastly Eyeball. You don't need to run the best of the best. You can run blue. It works. Then for potions on the build, I am running the Essence of Spell Critical. So this gives us Major Prophecy, which increases our spell critical by 2,600 for 47.6 seconds. That's where medicinal use comes in. We also restore 12,200 health. That's a little bit higher because we are an Argonian. Compared to other races, it would be a little bit lower, which also gives us Major Fortitude, which increases our health recovery by 30%. We also restore 7,500 magicka, and it also gives us Major Intellect, which increases our magicka recovery by 30%. So this does also scale off of our ability called Enchanted Growth, because all those are minor abilities and our potions have major abilities. So yes, that's why magicka recovery is a lot higher because of that as well. Now over into the gear. For our front bar on our restoration staff, we are running the spell power cure set with the weakening enchantment on the front bar, just to reduce the target's weapon and spell damage by 320 for 5 seconds, just to kind of reduce some things there as well. We have the power trait on this, just increase our healing done by 8%. Since we are healing, that's what we want to get the strongest, is our heals. I do understand if you want to have higher crit chance than 34%, you can run precise here just to increase that, so that way you have a better chance of crit healing as well. Now with the spell power cure set, for 2 pieces, we get 1,000 max magicka. 3 pieces, another 1,000 max magicka. 4 pieces, we get 124 spell damage. And for 5 pieces, when we overheal ourselves or an ally, we give the target major courage for 5 seconds, which increases their weapon and spell damage by 430. So this is just all off of overhealing, which is really, really nice, because especially when we are using our ability Radiating Regeneration. I don't have anybody here, but when we pop this ability, that can reach up to 28 meters, so you don't have to be directly on somebody. You know, we could be focusing all here on our heals, and someone could be way, way over there, and we could still hit them with this Radiating Regeneration ability and overheal them to give them spell power cure. Now, I can understand why people would be asking here, why not Alarime? Well, the reason we do not want, why I don't run Alarime, if I could find my Alarime, there's my Alarime, is because I'll just kind of go over what you get from this. You get magic recovery, reduce your damage taken from dungeon, trial, and arena monsters by 5%. So yeah, makes you a little bit more tankier and more protective. More magic recovery, which we already have quite a bit, and casting ability that leaves an effect on the ground, which we got a couple of those, so it's kind of nice. We could actually switch this. Creates a circle of might for 5 seconds. Now that's where what kind of gets me is you have a circle of might for 5 seconds, so it's in one location and it's only there for 5 seconds. Yes, it lasts for 20 seconds, your major courage, which is nice to keep up the weapon and spell damage so you don't have to pop it, and you could pop another circle once every 10 seconds. But I'd rather be healing all the time, making sure my hots are going, making sure I'm keeping my heals up, instead of kind of getting, I would say, lazy and just letting them kind of die off because I'm waiting for my thing to go back on cooldown, you know, wait 5 more seconds for it to go off and then pop it again, or, you know, pop it 5 seconds, the circle's up, 5 seconds, the circle's now down, and then pop it again. You know, I like to keep up my heals going on top of it. The circle is in one spot. This is great for trials if you're focusing in one spot, so I'd say use Alarime if you're using it in trials, but if you're using it, let's say, other than trials, Spell Power Cure to me is the way to go, because we're keeping everything mobile and you can use it on the move, and you can kind of keep it up 100% of the time as well. Okay, so then over into our back bar, we are running the Lightning Staff with the Crusher enchantment to reduce physical and spell resistance by 1,800, so a good chance to practice with our Blockade of Storms. We went the Infused to increase the potency of our Crusher, so that way we can lower the resistance, because the lower the resistance we get on enemies, the stronger our DPS will hit. So that's why we want to run it this way. You can run it other ways if you want to not run the infused trait. Go ahead and change it up, change things how you like, but this is the way that I like to build, and this is what I was doing to kind of optimize my build to better benefit the group. Now for Monster Helmet on the build, we are running Symphony of Blades, with this being our heavy piece. And then I believe our shoulders is our medium piece, with everything else being light, with max health enchantment on this. Divine traits is going to be on every single piece here, with magic and enchantment on everything else. And like I said, shoulders as medium piece, and our chest, waist, hands, feet, legs, and feet are all light pieces. So what Symphony of Blades do for us is increase our healing done by 4%, really nice. But when we heal an ally under 50% health, or under 50% of their primary resource, I should say, we will restore 556 magicka or stam every 1 second for 6 seconds. And this effect can occur once every 18 seconds per target, so we can hit multiple targets. It doesn't have to just be one and done. So if Jimmy, we pop it for Jimmy, if he's on, let's say, 6 seconds left, we can then pop it for Frank or Cecilia, or, you know, we can pop it for somebody else. This is what I really like about this. And the resource that they get is off of their maximum resource, so if they're magicka based, they'll get magicka. If they're stam based, they get stam. Now, what other options do we have here that we can run? Let's go into collections for sets. If you do not have Depths of Malatar, because that's where you get that monster helm from, if you just, let's say, base game dungeons, very good base game dungeon sets that's kind of like that is in Darkshade's Cavern, where we got the Sentinel of Rugama. This will, when you heal ourselves or our allies, we summon a Dwemer Spire that heals the target for 1,500 health and restores 121 magic and stam to them and the allies within 5 meters every 1 second for 8 seconds, and this can occur once every 15 seconds. The duration may be longer, the resource is a little bit lackey, and it has a quicker cooldown, but the Dwemer Spider doesn't move. It's only in one spot, so 5 meters, and that's why I actually kind of prefer, since I have the DLC for Symphony of Blades, to run Symphony of Blades, is because it keeps me very mobile, and that's what I really like about it, is I can keep moving, and still, guys don't have to stand in a circle to get resources. They get resources on the go. So this really helps if you want to do like speed runs and stuff like that, is what I personally found out. If you really want to, we could do Elden Hollow. You got Night Flame here, or Bogdan the Night Flame, to, you know, give a totem that's also 5 meters for 3,000 health. You have Chokethorn if you really want to summon a Straggler, but that's a 33% chance that you'll summon it. But yes, you got a lot of 3,000 or 33,600 health over 6 seconds, so it's really, really nice. You know, so there's things there. I know I'm probably missing other ones, like even in other DLCs, probably like Earthgore here. We could run Earthgore since we are healing a lot of people to give a whopping 46,800 health over 10 seconds if we really want to. And it heals based off our max magic or stam. But to me, I like giving resources back instead of, you know, other things, and keeping it very mobile. Now, for the last gear that we are running the robes, or we are running Combat Physician. So for Combat Physician, for 2 pieces we get a 1000 max magicka, 3 and 4 we get 334 spell critical, and for the 5-piece bonus is when we critically heal ourselves or an ally, we grant the target a damage shield that absorbs 4,100 damage for 6 seconds. This effect can occur once every 6 seconds per target. So we're giving everybody a damage shield, so that way, you know, if we're keeping our heals up, since we're already overhealing with our spell power cure to keep up major courage, the more often we're keeping our heals up, the better chance we're gonna crit. And that's why I've said maybe you want to run precise to have a better crit chance, so that way we can proc our Combat Physician a little bit better, so that way we give everybody shields. Yes, it's only a 4,100 damage shield. That's not very strong. There are stronger sets out there that give bigger damage shields, I do have to say. Like, let's go into collections again. Like, we have our DLC dungeon, like White Gold Tower. You have Brands of the Imperium. But the reason I don't run this is because this is only within 8 meters, and you have to be taking damage. And yes, everybody takes damage, but you have to basically stick close to your group to give everybody a damage shield, which more often than not, a tank probably has this set anyway. So that's why I don't run it. Now, I know some people are like saying, well, why don't you use the one from Spindle Clutch? Because it's better. While testing out Pershal, it's actually not better. Yes, the damage shield is stronger by, 4,700, so by 600 more damage. And yes, the effect when you overheal someone, which is really nice. I did test this set out. It's really nice when you overheal because you're already overhealing with Spell Power Cure. But this effect can occur once every 2 seconds. It doesn't say once every 2 seconds per target. If this was a per target, then this would be a phenomenal set, and I would highly recommend everybody runs it on their healer to give that damage shield. But this is a by chance. So you heal somebody by chance, somebody that you healed. So let's say if we heal 12 people, out of those 12 people, 1 person has a chance to only get the shield. If you wait 2 seconds, that person could get the shield again, or somebody else out of the 12 that you healed. 2 seconds later, the first person could get the shield again, or the second, or now a third person can get the shield. Now 2 seconds again, the first person who got the shield, it's gone because it only lasts for 6 seconds. So at maximum, you can only have 3 damage shields going at a time. Now with mine that I'm running, with the Combat Physician, if I crit heal and I was healing 12 targets, the higher chance I have to crit, the more likely I will get this, because this can affect once every 6 seconds per target. So that means every target has a chance. When I heal them, every target has a chance when I crit heal him. If I crit heal the first guy, he's on now a 6 second cooldown to get that heal. He can still get healed and he can get crit heal, but he's not going to reapply that damage shield until 6 seconds later. But that also means all those other 11 guys, I can still crit heal and give them shield. So in essence, I could probably have 12 damage shields going with this setup if I can crit heal. That's why to me, it's very important. So For resources again, we have max health enchantment on here. Everything's divine traits, chest, combat position, magicka enchantment, symphony blade shoulders, magicka enchantment, combat position, magicka, combat position, magicka, magicka. Now over into jewelry, we are using the spell power cure here with spell damage on our front bar here or on our neck here with the healthy trait. Just give our health a lot more benefits, because our health, to me, when running all arcane, we were kind of a little low, so I wanted to buff it up there. So this is where you guys can also buff up and put healthy here if you really want to. So we want spell damage just to give us a little bit stronger heals, and then we want magicka recovery just to have a really nice magicka recovery pool. Now over into champion point system, starting off into the green tree here. A lot of these is just kind of where you want to, because this is more of the crafting tree. So I got 50 points in glided finger for more gold to gain, 50 points in fortune favor for gold, 50% gold increase in chest, wanderer for reduced cooldown on the way shrines, 50% in enchantment. So my weapon enchantments have a 50% chance not to consume a charge when activated per stage. Treasure hunter, just increase the quality of items we find. That is a slottable, so you have to slot that one. We got 10 into reduce the fall damage taken by 7%, 30 into here to add 30 minutes to our food or drink. So that's why my food can almost last for 3 hours with this buff, which is slottable, so make sure you got to slot that. This slottable, liquid efficiency to reduce the chance of consuming a potion by 10% to save us some potions so we don't have to use so much resource, and 50 points here to stead blessing for slottable to increase our movement speed by 20. Now where a lot of our damage and heals is in here. We got 20 points into Eldritch Sight for more max magicka, 20 points into master into here, which I guess we could go further into this tree. I didn't realize that, but we just have blessed here and decrease our healing done by 20%. Then we have 50 points into focus mending to increase our to have a 10% healing done to single target heals. We got 10% healing done to healing over time effects. We got 50 points to healing done by area of effects. And then we got 20 into critical chance, 50 points into fighting finesse to increase 10% critical damage and critical heal. So when we crit heal, our crit heals are 10% stronger with this. 20 points in the stam, just kind of nice to get a little bit of stam there. Here we just have 10 points into quick recovery. And then for 90 points in here, we have 20 into offensive penetration just to hit a little bit better. 40 points into here to apply, or 60% chance to increase the magical status effect. So our lightning status effect give us a better chance on top of our passive for 100. So basically 160% chance. Doesn't mean it's gonna proc every time, it just gives it a lot better odds. And then War Mage just, you know, grants us 100 weapon and spell damage for magical attacks. Now over into the red tree, we have 50 points into Boundless Vitality to have us 1000 for our max health, 50 points into Rejuvenation for 150 health, magic on stamina recovery. That's why magic is high, is because of that one a little bit, on top of all the other things that we already talked about. Defiance reduce the break free cost when we get stunned. Tumbling reduce the roll dodge cost, because we will be rolling out of AoEs and stupid and stuff like that. Expert evasion, we can use a roll dodge on our first roll, will not consume any stam, but we gotta have a 30-second cooldown in order for this to proc again, so it's kind of nice to keep our cooldowns low. We got 10 into sprinter just to reduce cost of sprint, 16 for movement speed for 4% more movement speed, 20 here for more health, 10 here. We don't get this because this has to be a slottable and it's not on our bar. We got tempered soul to have 5% more resources when we are resurrected, but the main thing I really like is our spirit mastery, just to decrease the time it takes to resurrect an ally by 33%, so that way we can res allies if we really need to. So there you all have it for the Warden Healer for Blackwood patch update 30. Thank you all so much for watching this. If you would like, you can, or if you guys would, please take a moment of your time, click that subscribe button if you did like the video and stuff like that and thought it was very informational. And if you want to stay up to date with this build or anything else that I leave on my channel, click that notification bell so you can be updated with that. On top of that, you can come over and follow me over at Twitch. I am trying to hit our follower monthly goal. Right now we are currently at 38. We are trying to hit 50 with 18 days left, so that would be very much appreciated. If you have any questions about the build, don't be afraid to leave a message in the comments down below. You can ask anything. I'll try my best to give you the best answer I can. If not, you can message me over on Twitter if you feel more comfortable with that. So thanks again to everybody who's been recent subscribers. They are slowly rolling on my bottom left. Thank you so much. I want to give you guys a shout out, and that's kind of how my way of giving you guys a shout out when YouTube lets me know. So thanks again, everybody, and I hope to see you either in game or in the next one.